a small meteor crashes through the sky, smashing into an apartment building. From its glowing core crawls a strange, otherworldly spider. At that moment, Charlotte, a curious girl who often sneaks through the building's ventilation ducts to visit her grandma or other apartments, spots the creature while rummaging around. Without a second thought, she scoops the spider into a matchbox and takes it to her room. She names it Sting, seals it in a jar, and keeps it a secret, even from her parents. Charlotte starts feeding Sting insects she finds, noticing how ferociously it devours them, but she shrugs it off. One day, a mothball rolls near the jar and Sting reacts violently, writhing in discomfort. Charlotte realizes it's allergic to mothballs, but doesn't think much of it. That night, Charlotte falls asleep after playing with her stepfather, Ethan. Sting pries open the jar and escapes through the vents. It sneaks into a neighbor's apartment and suddenly attacks her pet parrot. The next morning, the woman discovers her dead bird and in a panic calls pest control. Frank, the exterminator, arrives and begins sanitizing the building, apartment by apartment. When he reaches Charlotte's room, she stops him from spraying, blurting out that Sting wouldn't like it. Curious, Frank asks to see her pet. One look at the eerie spider sends a chill down his spine, but he brushes it off, finishes his job, and leaves. That same night, Sting escapes again, this time creeping into Maria's apartment. Maria, a lonely woman grieving her family's loss, is suddenly startled and falls. Sting crawls near her face and then slips inside, ending her life. The next day, Charlotte, oblivious to the horror, shows Sting to Eric, a biology student who lives in the building. She mentions how fast Sting is growing and asks him to build a tank for it. Meanwhile, Ethan discovers Maria's body and calls the police, sending the building into chaos. Eric, piecing things together, warns Ethan that Sting could be responsible for the gruesome death and urges him to turn the spider over to the authorities. Ethan asks Charlotte, "Why didn't you tell me about your spider?" Charlotte, furious, snaps at her father, "I'm not letting Sting go anywhere." Eric takes Sting to study it, feeding it for his experiments. But that night, the creature grows massive, bursts out of its tank, and ensnares Eric in webbing. It then invades Ethan's apartment, where he's talking with his wife. Sting attacks, paralyzing them both with something and dragging them toward the vents. Charlotte, distracted by her phone, doesn't notice until she removes her headphones and hears the dog barking frantically at the vent. Investigating, she finds blood smeared around the duct and realizes her parents are gone. Before she can act, Sting returns, snatching her little brother too. Overwhelmed with guilt, Charlotte breaks down, blaming herself for the nightmare. Then she remembers Sting's weakness, mothballs. She mixes mothballs with water to create a solution, pours it into a spray gun, and crawls into the vents to find her family. She reaches her grandma's apartment, where the old woman is miraculously safe, likely because she always carries mothballs in her pocket, keeping Sting at bay. Charlotte douses herself in the solution and ventures deeper into the duct, following Ethan's faint cries. She finds him trapped in thick cobwebs, sprays the solution to free him, but in their escape, they slip and tumble into the basement, trapped without keys. Meanwhile, Charlotte's grandmother, Helga, struggling with memory issues, hears strange noises in the ducts and calls Frank back. As he inspects the vent, Sting attacks, dragging him into the basement where Charlotte and Ethan are. Frank fights back with a nail gun, but he accidentally bursts a water pipe, washing away the mothball solution's protective effect. Sting charges in, seizing Frank and vanishing into the darkness. Seizing the moment, Ethan and Charlotte climb into a trash compactor where he finds his wife and son, still alive but cocooned in webs. Charlotte uses the last of the solution to free them. As they catch their breath, Sting bursts into the compactor. Ethan devises a desperate plan to trap it in the compactor and crush it. He presses the button, but it fails. Risking everything, Ethan climbs out to reconnect the plug, enduring a little electric shock and passes out. His plan works. The button activates. Charlotte slams it, and the compactor's load crushes Sting, ending its reign of terror. Ethan's wife rushes to perform CPR, and miraculously, Ethan revives. In the final moments, the family huddles together, clinging tightly, grateful to have survived the nightmare.